personnel with the front line with Joe and Joe. Once again, let us go into the breach. The special rapporteur found no evidence of guilt. Let's go on another trip at the cost of the people. We'll call it a climate conference. Shh, don't tell anybody. They say a picture tells 1,000 words. Show the clip. Kind of like how he's running Canada. Can't get out of his own way. Canada, are we building a global digital concentration camp? Listen to this clip. Very important.
If you look at the extraordinary secrecy that the, sort of the governance system on the planet has enjoyed for the last 50 years, that secrecy is going to have to go away. So we need a lot less secrecy and a lot more transparency, and that's going to lead to more meritocracy. So having really studied the economy bottom up, community by community, I know it is possible to do a reset that is much more wealth building and can result in a very human society. So it is possible. What it's going to require is basically rejecting the current reset. And that means if you look at all the centralization that's occurring, the building of the smart grid, the creation of CBDCs, the institution of all the different digital payment system controls, if you look at who is doing that, we're doing that. The people who will end up as the slaves in the digital concentration camp, we're the ones who are building it.
Couple comments. One, use cash. Never, ever, ever vote for or think a digital currency and or ID is good. It's a means of control. Never listen to the rhetoric. That's point one. Point two, this woman makes a lot of good points, but I want to focus on one of them. Putting down certain things. Certain things you can live without. Put them down. You see, the money we have, are in control of it. We choose to buy and participate in certain things. Do not enable those who are enslaving you, and they are, in plain sight. And to be honest with you, I think they laugh because they see it very clearly. It's like a marketer. A marketer understands his demographic. And basically, he understands you better than you understand yourself in many ways. And they touch those points. And in a sense, they tempt you. And that is what's going on. Those who are in charge, the establishment, the uniparty, understands you in many ways better than you understand yourself. And they're dangling the carrots. And those carrots are tools of control. It's time for us to put some of those things, if not all of those things, down. Get back to first principles. Get back to basics. In many ways, we are in control already. Stop looking at the carrot. Let's start opening our eyes. Let's stop arguing liberal, conservative. Let's look establishment versus the people. You are the people. Ottawa introducing a second federal carbon tax costing families up to $1,100 a year by 2030. Couple comments. You think the press is going to cover that? Second point. You think they should? I do. What does that tell you? Draw your own conclusion. Last point. Why are they doing this? You can't even afford the other carbon taxes. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because they value an ideology over you. People, we're not, you see, I'm going to be honest with you. We're looking at this in the wrong way. We're looking at it as liberal and conservatives. In many ways, those politicians are the same person. Because the special interests and the globalists control both parties. They do. Who gets left out on the cold? You. The real fight is not the liberals and the conservatives. The real fight is the establishment and the people. When people see that clearer, then we'll fix the other disagreements between liberals and conservatives, so-called. I call them Canadians. I call them citizens. I call them people who are just trying to live. And they're preventing you from doing it. We have to see the battle lines clearer. We have to call out, dare I say, the enemy. And it is the enemy because they're destroying you. Michael Barrett saying Canada's democracy is at stake. Play the clip.
A few months ago, reports came to light that there was serious interference in our democracy by operatives acting on behalf of Beijing and the Beijing government. Now, we've seen more reports and more news outlets that this was happening. And there have been parliamentary committees who've been looking at this issue. And there was a vote in the House of Commons calling on the Prime Minister to hold an open public inquiry into the issue of foreign interference. But instead, the Prime Minister appointed his ski buddy, neighbor at the cottage, and member of the Beijing-funded Trudeau Foundation to make some suggestions to him on what should happen. Now, Parliament voted by majority to have a public inquiry. But we've been waiting for Mr. Trudeau's hand-picked friend who's serving as his Rapporteur, which is a made-up job, to tell him what he should do. And in what should be a surprise to no one, but is of course very disappointing, he's advised the Prime Minister not to call a public inquiry.
Couple points. Michael, you're fighting the good fight, brother. I see on Twitter your picture. You have 5 young kids, which says you're for life. Believe me, I got 5 young kids close in age as you do. I get it. Your life speaks to people. You don't have to say anything. You're fighting the good fight. You're trying. Kudos to you. Just one comment. That hair, dude. That flip. It's got to go. It's got to go. I love you, though, brother. I want you to know that. But that hair. Polyev tells the press how it is. Good job, brother. Play the clip.
Would you join NSCOP?
David Johnson is Trudeau's ski buddy. You're
not answering the question.
I'll answer it how I choose. You get to ask the question, I get to answer it. I'll choose how I answer it. And the answer is that David Johnson is a ski buddy, chalet neighbor, family friend, and member of the Trudeau Foundation. He has no business in this job because it is a fake job that he is incapable of doing impartially.
Couple comments. This is how you address them. Bluntly, boldly, in their face. The press is not on the side of people. They're not even on the side of truth, justice, and democracy. Don't think that they are. When they use those terms, they should replace them with truth, justice, and democracy for me. You see, justice is blind. And they should be searching and pointing it out when it is abused. And they do not, because they have an agenda, because they are a tool of the establishment. Good for Polyev. Call them out. Get in their face. Be bold. That's exactly what we have to do. Let's watch Justin Trudeau, who just spoke at the UN about sustainable development goals and the agenda for 2030. Play the clip.
As co-chair of the Secretary General's SDG advocates, why are the SDGs so important to you and for Canada?
Well, I think they're just important, period. What we're seeing right now everywhere around the world is a level of anxiety about the future that I don't think we've ever seen at this level before. I mean, whether it's the real impacts of climate change that are increasingly felt by everyone, whether it's the spreading of conflicts and instability in terms of food, in terms of energy all around the world, whether it's the pandemic that knocked us all for a loop, people are worried. And people are worried that they're going to be able to offer a better future to their kids. And that's not obvious. Even in wealthy places where that had always been the story, people are really not certain about the future. So showing that as a world we can focus on the basic building blocks of success. The SDG goals are what is necessary to create a successful planet, full stop, over the coming decades.
Couple comments. One, if you don't think that Justin Trudeau is a globalist and I'm a conspiracy theorist, you're not paying attention. Because he is. Did you hear what he said? Justin Trudeau sees what's going on. He sees your pain. He's referring to it in that clip. And he's progressing forward anyway. He's supposed to work for you. You elected him. The globe did not. The sustainable energy goals of 2030 have nothing to do with regular Canadians who voted for you, Justin Trudeau. You see, he doesn't get it, but he does. Do you see what he's saying, or do you hear it? Because he's saying it plainly. Justin Trudeau was elected by the Canadian people to work for globalists, to push an agenda whereby he's convinced is going to help you. But the fruit of those policies are destroying you and will continue to do so. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. Public service message, Canada. There is good and evil, and Satan's real. Play the clip. If you think that Satan isn't real, you already lost. If you think there isn't good and evil and you can't differentiate between it, you're already lost. Most Western countries don't believe in good and evil anymore. I just showed you something. That's evil. And evil is real.